It's time for John and Ken to throw a hack in a dumpster.
John and Ken Show, John Cobell, Ken Shampoo, KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk. Week 2, hack in a dumpster.
Yes.
Inspired by our good friends, the Ukrainians.
Yes.
All the good stuff is coming out of Ukraine lately.
Since this is new to the John and Ken Show, we'll explain again. The idea came from a video out of Ukraine in which an angry mob picked up a member of parliament who was a little too pro-Russian for their tastes, and they deposited him in a stinky dumpster.
And they not only threw him in the dumpster, and he was dressed very well in a very handsome blue suit, but they kept shoving his head into the garbage and then threw a tire on him and poured water on him, screaming and shouting. I'm sure they were cursing in Ukrainian.
They were taking out the trash.
That's right. And
John loved it so much, he shared it with a lot of people and decided we ought to adopt the idea on the show with Hack on a Dumpster.
Hack on a Dumpster. And last week, the first Hack on a Dumpster was State Senator Rod Wright, who is headed to prison. 8 felony counts involving fraud because he pretended to live in the Inglewood Senate District, and in fact, he was living in Baldwin Hills. He didn't want to live in Inglewood. He didn't like that house in Inglewood. Baldwin Hills, his neighborhood there, was much nicer. And so he defrauded his constituents.
And
he
that
got caught and convicted.
Right, and that wasn't the only reason that he was thrown in the dumpster. He prolonged this thing. I mean, he got convicted by a jury, but he managed to put off his sentencing for like 9 months. He was convicted in January, making all sorts of outrageous claims that this is not right, this is not the way the law is defined, even claiming it might be racist. On and on and on. And enough for you.
And he stayed on the payroll and sucked out another 9 months of pay for his lawyers.
Right.
After he was convicted. So
I think he's still on the payroll another couple of weeks before he turns himself into jail next month.
And he's still in the dumpster, by the way.
Oh, he is? Did you check?
Oh, yeah. Well, we only have one dumpster, so these guys are going to start piling up. When we throw the next one in, he's going to land right on top of Rod Wright.
Do you have like a lock on the lid?
Huh? Yeah, I have a lock on the lid. There's plenty of food in there. It's not good food, but you can live.
There is.
And the crowd throws some water bottles in there. So,
based on this water main break, we should throw the whole DWP into the dumpster.
Yeah,
but that's not who we picked for this week. Maybe next week. You never know.
You never know. We're going to try to keep these as current as possible. Although there will be some lifetime achievement awards from time to time.
That's a good point. Lifetime. This week's pick comes out of one of the big events that went on in New York City this week, which was the United Nations Climate Summit. And there was a big climate march in New York City. And we got a hold of some audio that really got our attention because one of those who showed up to speak defiantly and angrily about such little action by the United States to do something about climate change is none other than Robert F. Kennedy Jr., an environmental lawyer.
The compulsive sex addict who drove his wife to suicide a few years ago is now stomping around with this peculiar goat-like voice, and he's making all these wild claims about global warming, even though we haven't. There he is. We haven't had any global warming for 17 years.
So let's play you some of the audio that really got us riled up about RFK Jr. and led us to nominate him as this week's Hack in a Dumpster. Here he is when he was confronted by a reporter at this climate march about his own pretty big climate footprint.
I think you need this kind of event to save the environment. What I'm concerned with is the kind of damage that's being caused by Exxon and the Koch brothers and by the oil wars that we've spent $4 trillion on over the last 10 years.
This
and the only thing between us and that kind of future where the oil companies have subverted our democracy and are running our foreign policy and running our domestic policy is people power. They have the money on their side. We have the people on our side, and we need the people here to show that they don't want to take it anymore.
Do you have an iPhone or an Android?
I have a cell phone.
You do? Are you concerned about the damage that the cell phone and electricity generation causes to the environment?
Are you joking about this?
No, I want to know if you're here saying you want...
No, it starts by changing the laws so to rationalize the marketplace so that we reward the most efficient forms of energy use, and we punish the bad ones.
Shouldn't you lead by example?
No, I'm not going to stop using a cell phone, and I'm not going to stop using. I don't believe.
He's trying to say
we have
change
to
everything first before I have to.
Sure, he's got a
punish us all.
Huge Malibu mansion too.
What does rationalize the marketplace mean?
Nothing.
Well,
it's gibberish.
Like, can somebody break that down?
No, but nobody. It's just gibberish. Nobody knows what he means. These people, these politicians and corporate guys, they just babble in jargon, and I don't even think they know what they're saying, but they heard someone else say it, and it sounded cool, and you never get to interrupt them and say, hey, what the hell did you just say? I mean, she was trying, but...
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. recently married Cheryl Hines, an actress, and they have quite a place they purchased in Malibu.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it exactly. I don't know everything about its energy usage.
It's worth many millions of dollars.
It's a Malibu compound that was sold to them for nearly $5 million.
Yeah. So, like Al Gore and Schwarzenegger, these guys are absolute fakes. They want everybody else to curtail their lifestyle, but they are living the life of wealth. This guy flies around all over the place, like Leonardo DiCaprio. And all the rest of these characters, they're fakes. They don't give a rat's ass about the environment. It's just their hustle. It's their scam to make money and get notoriety.
So in part two of this, he was asked by another reporter at these climate marches about, and because he mentioned them in the first clip, the Koch brothers, who he thinks are just evil. These are these billionaire businessmen that are behind a lot of conservative causes. And he goes so far as to nominate the Koch brothers to possibly be in jail for their whole problem in the whole global warming fight.
That's right. Global warming deniers are supposed to go to prison, according to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Roll this.
I think they should be in jail. I think they should be enjoying 3 hots and a cot at The Hague with all the other war criminals who are there.
What about politicians, people who express skepticism?
I think they're selling out the public trust. And, I think those guys who are doing the...
I like the crazy people screaming in the background.
Who are against all the evidence of the rational mind are saying that global warming doesn't exist, that they are contemptible human beings, and that, I wish
17 years
you could punish them under. I don't think there's a law that you can punish those politicians under, but I think the Koch brothers should be prosecuted for reckless endangerment. Absolutely. That's a criminal offense, and they ought to be serving time for it.
Reckless endangerment,
yes. If I never heard 3 hots and a cot again, I would be so happy.
Yeah, that's a long...
I mean, come on.
That's an old expression.
A stupid cliche.
Why don't we open the door and let the KFI angry Ukrainian mob into the studio, and let's roll in the dumpster and let the crowd have at Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Lift him up and toss him in. Let's go.
Are you joking about this? No, I'm not going to. I'm not.
Everybody grab him.
I think this
Open it up. There we go.
Is Svetlana there? Did she take a picture with him before he went in?
There he goes. He's in there.
He's in there. They're pushing his head under the trash.
I think this is... No.
Seems to be objecting, and John's holding him down.
No.
You just stay in there.
We're taking your cell phone.
Somebody throw a goat in there, too.
Yeah. Well, now he's with the rest of the goat scraps.
So there's Rod Wright in there.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and a goat, all in the dumpster. There you go. Now we'll lower the lid and...
Well, there it is, our Hack in a Dumpster for the week. We're closing it up, rolling it out.
Just going to leave the goat in there?
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
He and Rod Wright need to eat, so now they have a goat.
Then we have 2 hacks, 2 weeks in a dumpster. We'll see who our nominee is 1 week from today. All right, when we come back, Eric Leonard will join us to give us a lot more details.